Hello, welcome to Wednesday's live stream. How is everyone doing? If you're new here, I live stream twice a week, Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time and Sundays at 5 p.m. Pacific. And we talk about mental health, your healing journey, any questions you have about relationships, narcissistic personality, or any of the, personality disorders, toxic relationships, and healing and recovering from those. I got you. We're here for that. Or anything that's along your healing journey. A lot of my work, there's an intersect between psychology and spirituality and quantum physics. So we also talk about manifesting our future and everything, and getting all that, deleting the negative mindset, uninstalling the negative mindset, and installing a better program, because your mind is like a computer. So if you have a belief system, and it might just be unconscious, just put there from childhood because of your parents or caretakers, negative beliefs or false beliefs about things, and you just kind of accidentally or unconsciously inherited them, and they're holding you back, and you could just release them right now. And they're usually just beliefs, false beliefs that we really think are real, and about ourselves, about how the world works, that are holding us back. And so we can decide to let them go. So there's that too. So any questions you have about that, narcissism, let me know. I'm going to pull up the live stream here so I could see your. Hi, Joe. How are you? Good to see you. And so I also answer questions that I get that people DM me or in the comments. And so one of them is about, here, I'm going to read it exactly. It was actually from YouTube. And it's a good question because, Bob, there you are. Hi. I messaged you on Instagram. No worries at all. We were missing you. We were hoping that you were okay. Sorry I missed the live stream. I was exhausted. I love that you slept. I love that you got a lot of sleep. Bob, you missed such a good live stream. Okay, so all these dudes were in there, and they were like guys like get hostile about the fact that, because I was talking about the fact that women, statistically, unless you're with like a really good man that like takes care of you and is attentive, like a lot of women, when they get into marriages or they have kids, they regret it. Okay. And so, or they just, and it's very like, a lot of women have so much shame about it, and they don't talk about it. And so like there's, especially I see it more on TikTok, like women are actually starting to talk about it because men don't lose their identity and their body doesn't change. And then sometimes men, they just get like more into like they're a little bit more selfish. And so, but like the women that have the best, like do not regret getting married or having kids, are the ones that have like the best, very attentive husbands, like complete provider, protector, understanding. And it's like not a lot of men are like that. And so many guys were getting so upset, like, oh no, women have more satisfactory lives, blah blah. And I'm like, it's just not true. Especially as you get older, like I just hear it all the time from my clients and friends that they're like, I love my kids, but I would rather be in your situation where, I'm not married and I'm single and I, have a nice life. So, men do have to make it worth your while, I guess. But men do benefit. Men, their satisfaction in life goes up, and they can make more money. They're more confident when they are married. Like marriage is really set up for men, especially in this modern era. It does benefit men more than women statistically. It just does. And so I had some guys like really get triggered by that, and I thought it was funny. But so yeah, that's what we missed. We missed you, Bob, but we're so glad that you got a lot of sleep and you're doing well. Oh no, don't worry about it. I wanted to make sure you're okay. I didn't know if you were moving or what, but like, so happy to have you here. And anytime you need to go to bed early, like, please do that. No, we so appreciate you being here. Just got back into the to the States. Nice, J-Ro. Where were you traveling from? Joe says, doing good. How are you doing? I'm doing well. Just feeling really good. Clients are doing well. Having a good time. I actually did an interview with one of my clients that's also a coach. She's been a client for a while, and she's just like so freaking amazing. And so we did a live stream on TikTok, and I'm going to upload it to here on YouTube soon, because she's just so great. And we just had like a very vulnerable talk like we always do. I've posted about with conversations with Coach Brittany before. So yeah, if you're looking for a coach, she's and you don't want to work with me, Brittany is amazing. Jojo says, hello, Lauren. I will only be listening today. I'm in pain. Oh, I'm sorry. Surgery 4 days ago. Ugh. We're sending you healing vibes, Jojo. Sorry that you're in pain, but yeah, get a lot of rest, stay hydrated. But glad you're here. And so this question I got is, can someone be a narcissist without doing it on purpose? Like they've grown up that way and just keep doing those things because it gets them what they want in life, and they don't realize that they're doing. I'm putting the quotes around it, but it's like they don't realize they're doing it. What it does to other people. First of all, they completely realize what's going on. This is a tactic that narcissists do. They pretend like they don't know what's going on, because narcissists do not take responsibility for anything. They do not like taking accountability for any character defect or anything that anyone else has a problem with. No constructive criticism, nothing like that. They're not about it. So they're going to, what it will appear to you as though they don't know what they're doing, or they're not aware, or they can't. They are fucking aware. They know. They have gotten enough feedback at any point in their life to know that what they're doing is repulsive in some kind of way, literally meaning it like makes people retract from them, or it's frustrating or upsetting or triggering to people. They are aware of it. They are pretending to not be aware of it. And so, and then some people believe it. They're like, oh yeah, they're not doing it on purpose. And that's just how they are. And that is why another defense mechanism that they use to not take accountability is like, well, that's just how I am. That's just how I am. And so if they say it enough, you'll just be like, oh God, that's just how they are. And you will excuse their behavior. No. I mean, what if someone was like, I don't know, on trial for murder, and they're like, I don't know, I just like to kill people. That's just how I am. No. And like, that's an exaggerated example, but the point of relationships and evolving and being a functioning adult in society is to take feedback that you get from the outside world and integrate it into your life experience, and be able to be like, oh, okay, maybe that wasn't my intention. Or, okay, you know what? I've gotten this feedback a lot. I've heard this a lot. So maybe it's time for me to modify my behavior, and then do so. So, but narcissists, they just find new supply, find new enablers. And if you try to call them out, they will ignore you, act like they have no idea what you're talking about, or get upset, or they'll just leave and then find new supply that will just enable their behavior. And so, yeah, they do realize what they're doing. And, I understand having trauma, right? I have a ton of trauma. Bob has some. A lot of people in here, a lot of people that watch my content have trauma from the past, and that does not give you an excuse to be a shit human or act like shit. It just doesn't. Okay. So yeah, you might have grown up a certain way, but it's not an excuse to act a certain way. And that also extends for like certain cultural things that are just disgusting, racist, abusive. It's not, I don't care if you've just grown up that way. Like, it's time to, I just grew up certain ways that I would never behave now. Like, I just, that things that my toxic, parent was just like, oh, well, that's just how it is, because she wanted to excuse her behavior. I would never behave that way, because I've grown and learned, and I want to be a loving, functional human in society. So that is the answer to that question. And then speaking of what I was just saying about up and leaving, that is another defense mechanism that narcissists do, and they just act like, well, that's just who I am. But here, they do this specific thing when you are completely right. When you are completely right, you call them out on something, they just go. They just leave. They just get up and leave. And I actually recommend that you guys do this in a calm way, like, kind of stonewall, or just not stonewall, but like, you could just look at them, look kind of bored, and then look away. But when you call out a narcissist on something that they have clearly done, they're kind of all upset, and they're just like, and they might not say anything, or they might say something, and they just storm off. And you're like, whoa, hey, where'd you go? Like, and it's only because you were correct about something. I was just talking to a client who, his narcissistic ex, he heard a story about his narcissistic ex doing this. They were on a trip, and how do I say? I don't want to be. Let me keep it more vague. So yeah, he was hearing the story about his narcissistic ex. She was on a trip with a group of people. One of the people called her out on something, or just like made a comment about a way that she is, and the next day she flew out from where they were on one side of the country to the other side of the country. She went home. And everyone's like, what happened? And really what happened was she got called out on a behavior, and she didn't like it. She had no defense. So she freaking up and left. And that's what they'll do. They'll leave because they know that you're right, and they have no other, defense for it. So that happens too. Let me go back to the live so I could see your comments there. Here we are. Wadan, so glad I stumbled across your channel. Subscribed immediately. I've got a real talent for this. Happy to have you, Wadan. Welcome. I live stream twice a week, Wednesdays and Sundays. It's so good to have you. Bob, I had a narcissistic ex once pretend she had memory loss, so she couldn't be held accountable. Was mind-boggling. Oh my God. I actually haven't heard that one. I've heard something less like, oh, I'm very forgetful. I'm so forgetful. But like actually feigning memory loss, I mean, that's a good one. And then, when they do that, you could I recommend just being like, you don't have memory loss. Let's keep it real. You don't. And I bet you they don't have memory loss when it's something important to them. Let's say you forget something that is important to them. All of a sudden they remember that shit. That's hilarious, Bob. Oh my gosh. Joe, your nails look ultra great. Thank you. This blue, it's just making me, it's a happy color to me. Avian. Hi, Avian. How are you? Good to have you here. Let's see. Yeah, how's everyone's week? I know, right? Like, talk about Hail Mary play. Wow, that is funny. And like the depths that a narcissist will go, it's actually not that difficult to take accountability. You grow as a human, but narcissists are so committed to not being accountable for their behavior that they'll blame you, they'll gaslight, or blame shift, they'll spin it to make a whole other situation, or just make some shit up, like literally rewrite history. I think it's either annoying or kind of funny, but the more that you ignore it, and it really is, it's that simple, but I know it can be triggering, but the more that you can just walk away from it, you won't attract those type of dynamics anymore, and you will deactivate that defense mechanism. It's like, oh, what they think is like, that's not going to work on that person. And then they kind of lose interest in you. They're like, let me find some supply where all my shit works on them. Because all you are is supply to a narcissist. And I'll keep reiterating it because that's one of the most difficult things for people to really understand, because in the love bombing phase, you were just made to feel so amazing and you're the only one and you're this and you're that. Or even if it's a work situation, like, oh my God, you are the most amazing employee ever. You know what? You're going to run this company all of a sudden. And then it's like, droop. And then you fall from grace and you fall really hard. And it's like, what happened to the person that thought I was amazing or that I fell in love with? And nope, you're just supply to get whatever their needs are, their drama needs, anything that they actually want. Joe says, doing good, relaxing after work. We love that. We love relaxing after work. Yeah, kick your feet up and chill. So yeah, let me know and let's celebrate our wins. Okay, so Bob has a win. He got a lot of sleep the other day. And like, I think in this last live stream, we're also talking on Sunday. It's funny, Bob, that you were sleeping, because I was talking about the importance of sleep and someone asked about napping. And I'm like, yeah, fuck yeah. Like, nap if it's conducive to your system. But 20 minutes, what they say is 20 minutes or 90 minutes and no more than that, and before 3:00. And so I've had that really be effective for me. Some of the best, most successful people in the world take a 20-minute nap, and they're like, the idea comes to them. They had the inspired whatever connection that they needed to put X, Y, and Z into place. So I do think it's really good for the brain, but also it puts your brain in a theta state. And so when your brain is in a theta state, you're thinking from a different place. That's why the creative, like, you've been asleep and it's like, oh, I have a really good idea for something. That's because your brain is in a theta state. And the logic isn't like, oh, are you worried about this? Remember that thing that happened 10 years ago or whatever? Like, it's none of that. It's on a deeper level where creativity can emerge. And a lot of artists or creatives, they talk about that. They're like, okay, hold on. I don't have a pen and paper. Like, the ideas are coming in, but their brain is actually primed to a theta state. And you can get into a theta state, one, by napping, like especially a 20-minute nap does that. And you can do it by meditating. You could do it by the Silva method. The Silva method talks a lot about that. Like, okay, we're dropping into like 3, 2, 1. Okay, now I'm in a theta state. Now I'm in an alpha state. Now I'm in and they have some good free stuff on YouTube. But even if I would recommend getting the Jose Silva, it's called Method to Mind Control. It sounds weird, but it's the Silva method. And it's these quick meditations that rewire your brain to get you into an alpha state when you need to be in a theta state. And those are that's why I talk about the Silva method all the time, because I just think it's such a concise and precise method for really getting into those states that you need. And then when it's time to sleep, boom, relaxing into sleep. And then I talk about the 3-finger method a lot. Like, you associate, you get into a calm state, then you start to think of a place that's very calm and serene that makes you feel so regulated and peaceful. You put your 3 fingers together and you say, okay, every time my 3 fingers are together, I'm in this peaceful, calm state. And it rewires your brain to do that. It's called an anchor. So I can't say enough great things about the Silva method. I very much appreciate it. You don't need to buy some fancy course like it is on, Mind Valley or whatever. I've taken that course. The books and the audiobooks are just fine. Sorry, not to put it down, but I'm keeping it real with you. And as someone that is, I'm a business owner in the mental health and self-development field. So I invest in a lot of courses, and I will sing the praises of courses that I think are worth it. I don't know. Mind Valley does have some good courses, but the Silva, that's the one he kind of promotes the most because he put the course together. It's just okay, in my opinion. That is my opinion. Bob, yeah, I had been sleeping poorly last week with stress from the move and finally just passed out. My body decided it was time. I freaking love that. I actually had a lot of trouble sleeping last week, and I was like, what is it? And then I opened my TikTok and they were saying because we had an eclipse, a solar eclipse, right? And then there's a lunar eclipse tomorrow. And then I guess when there's a time between eclipses, it makes everyone like anxious and you can't sleep and you get anxiety. And I'm like, maybe that's true because I don't know, I don't get anxiety and I'm like, why am I feeling like I did when I was in college, like anxious and I couldn't sleep. So I'm like, you know what? Moon and stars, do your thing because I do think astrology affects us, Um and what they say, like most very successful people, multimillionaires, centimillionaires, and billionaires, like have astrologers. Like President Reagan had an astrologer, and he planned things around astrology. So it really does have a significance. But I was like blown away about like how anxious and like how I couldn't sleep this past week. And last night I slept like a baby, like a little baby, and I loved it. My sleep is so, Avian says. Sometimes I have trouble sleeping. Yeah. Bob says, I feel that, Avian. It can be rough when you don't get enough sleep. Avian says, I go to bed on time. However, I get up at 6 hours. I get up after 5 or 6 hours around past midnight. I get scary nightmares and wake up in the middle of the night, and it's hard for me to go back to sleep. Okay, that is good information. I think that I'm glad you shared that, Avian, because that I think is true for a lot of people. So what I want, and this is something I've shared with clients before, if that is the case for you, if you have trouble sleeping, or you go to bed and then you wake up in the middle of the night and you have like an anxiety state, you have nightmares or everything, before you go to bed. So we're going to do something that's called what I call like mental energetic showering hygiene, right? So you take a shower, you brush your teeth before bed probably. So we're going to do the internal hygiene. And so what you could do is, and this could just be part of your bedtime routine. So as you're falling asleep or when you're in bed, just imagine a light. It could be any color, any pretty color. It could be white, gold, blue, something soothing that's coming over your body and then inside, like just filtering through every part of your brain, all the muscles in your face, like everything all throughout. And like as the light is coming down, it's relaxing everything. So all the way down through your hands, through your abdomen, all the way down through your feet. And it's just completely cleansing away any stress and relaxing you. And you could just thank the light for that. That's the first thing you're going to do, is just be like, oh, this light is relaxing every part of my body. And it's literally taking away any stress, conscious stress or subconscious stress, unconscious stress. Thank you, light. Thank you for taking it away. Thank you for cleansing every part of my being in that way. And now I'm like happy and relaxed. And then tell yourself before you go to bed, I'm safe. You could imagine, if it helps, like imagine a bubble. Some of my clients like imagine a pyramid that's over their house and their room or bed, like, but something that's enclosed in like a safe little bubble, like a little safe space for you. And it's like, I'm in my little safe space bubble as I sleep. And I'm very grateful for that. And nothing that disrupts my space, my sleep gets to come in. So I only am allowing energy that supports me having restful, deep sleep gets to come into my energy field, my room, my bedroom, and my home. So it's only very cleansing, peaceful energy. That's the only energy I allow into my room, into this space as I sleep, and just say thank you and then fall asleep. Try that and see what happens, guys, especially if you're having anxiety type of things, because everything's energy, right? So if you actively and consciously declare, like, I am no longer available for anxiety and this type of energy, especially as I sleep. I only have energy around me that supports me having a blissful, wonderful sleep where I wake up well rested and ready for the day tomorrow. That's the only energy I'm allowing into my space, into my bedroom, into my home as I sleep, and just say thank you. And then that's it. And you're just in your safe little space that you created. Do that and let me know how it goes. Check in with me on Sunday. That's been very helpful, like little nighttime routine that I've given my clients. It's been very helpful to them. Lauren, for some reason, foggy nights are really peaceful and help me sleep. I love that. I love some fog. And I love foggy days too. I like overcast. Avian, last time I had a nightmare in my sleep of a scary car collision. Okay, well, I'll check out. And then Bob says, I don't know what qualifies as night terror versus nightmare, but I was briefly subscribed. Oh, how do you pronounce this? Prazosin, and it really helped me when I was struggling with it. Bob, rain has the same effect on me, Joe. Oh, I love sleeping. I go on YouTube and find rain sounds that have binaural beats behind them. So that rain sounds that have 432 hertz like in the background, because that's also very good for your brain and energy. But yeah, like I mean, if it works, like, but again, like how you guys personally know how I feel about prescription drugs that are for the brain. It's like just to them briefly and then get off of them, especially with your sleep, because your sleep very much is connected to your hormones, and you don't want to develop hormone imbalances, which happens with a lot of the drugs for that they prescribe for like psychiatric drugs. So, but if it's very short term, go ahead and try it, but don't get dependent on anything. I see so many bad things happen with people that take like Ambien on a regular basis, and so we want to just have it be like a brief amount of time. Bob, I didn't have any negative side effects personally, but I'm sure there's a possibility for them. It's a blood pressure medication that's off-brand prescribed for PTSD and night terrors. Wow, that makes sense, right? Because when you're anxious, your blood pressure goes up. So all that's interconnected. And yeah, you got to be really careful. A good doctor will make sure your blood pressure is okay to begin with. So for someone like me, my blood pressure is naturally like on the very low side, just from I work out every day and have my entire life. So I have like kind of lower blood pressure, like lower than normal, I guess. And so I couldn't be prescribed that. And so just check. You don't know where your blood pressure is, but good to know. Thanks, Bob. Hi Aries, how are you? Bob, yeah, it wasn't long term for me, just helped me get through a tough time and found it to be surprisingly effective. That's the perfect use for any of those drugs that are for depression, sleep, anything like that for mental health. Just a short amount of time, and then we let them go, get back on track. My blood pressure is high. Well, let's do some deep breathing and drop your blood pressure. We also want to make sure you're eating well, going to bed at a decent time. And stress is the biggest thing for blood pressure, though. It really is. It's not salt. It's not even sugar. I mean, sugar is not that great for you, but I mean, large amounts of it aren't, but it really is stress more than anything. Ari says, doing great. Thank you for asking. I hope your day is great. Yeah, it is. It's been a great day. Just like I was saying, like, yeah, like I had like kind of a week that felt kind of foggy and wasn't sleeping well, and like just slept really well yesterday. And we'll continue to. Hello, Malik. I think I pronounced that right. Does anyone have any wins for the week? So I know we're halfway through the week, but does anyone have any wins? Anyone like anything that it doesn't have to be? I don't really believe in something being small or big, because one, we're usually hard on ourselves, but everything counts as a big win. But it's so important to celebrate them, because when we celebrate our wins, we create new neural pathways in the brain. And when you congratulate yourself for something, you get better at that. It creates momentum for that. You've seen this with kids or like toddlers. You're like, good job, good job. That's the reason you say good job to them all the time. It builds their confidence, and it actually helps them to develop that skill faster. And so we get to continue saying that to ourselves in adulthood, like, good job, hell yeah, you did that. Let me check that off the list. And then we also get a dopamine hit from that, a healthy dopamine hit from that. So please feel free to celebrate your wins. Again, it could be, oh, I reacted more like calmly. I wasn't so hard on myself. I didn't listen to my inner critic, and I did this instead. I was nice to myself. I went to bed a little earlier, whatever it is. And I will remind you again, we don't listen to our inner critic. One of the best ways to calm the inner critic, that's that voice in your head that's always judging you for some shit. And it's like it never calms down. And we think we are our inner critic, and you are not your inner critic. So what you want to do is notice when you're doing that. Notice when you're judging yourself. And sometimes the inner critic is coming in hot first thing in the morning. Okay. And that's why we get to calm the inner critic down. So the first thing that you're going to do is notice the inner critic and then be like, you know what? I'm not available to hear that right now. I think it's very helpful if you name the inner critic a name that you don't like. So, Karen, whatever it is, like, you're not allowed here right now. I get you're trying to sabotage me. I get you're very small minded and you can only think about the past, and you could only think about you're a fear based scarcity person that's always operating from fear. I'm not. I don't operate that way. So please leave. You don't belong here. You don't go here. Get out. And being really stern with that person. And like, you could also imagine your inner critic as like the opposite of what you want to be. So maybe like fat and hairy and smelly and whatever it is. And that has a name that you don't like. And it's like, you definitely would not listen to someone like that. And that's the point. I don't want you listening to your inner critic. Your inner critic is bullshit. Your inner critic is just trying to keep you small and sabotage you and keep you down. And sometimes the inner critic is like an amalgamation of all the negative messaging that we got from childhood, from our narcissistic parents, our abusive relationships from the past. So we get to release that. And the more you tell your inner critic no, and the more you tell your inner critic you are wrong, the more you weaken that inner critic. And then you create a new neural pathway that is about confidence, and that is about competence and self-love and self-care and self-respect. And that is where we want to go. Because then we get to our goals faster, whatever we want for our health, wealth, relationships, career, even connection to God, or whatever you call your higher power. All of that gets stronger when the inner critic weakens. So it's very important to disempower the inner critic, because sometimes the inner critic is in the driver's seat and we don't even know it. So yeah. Bob, wise choice, Joe. Much respect. That's not always easy. I missed something, or I don't see it here. In order to have that, wait, Aries, in order to have that, you have to be beside like-minded people. Yeah, or you can think that way. It's an internal, like what is it within is reflected without. So you decide that you embody those things, you have that perspective, and your outside world will reflect that back to you. I did not whoop a guy's ass at the gas station for running his drunk mouth yesterday. Jeez. Oh God. I can just imagine that scenario. Yeah, drunk people are well done, Joe. Good. Because, and honestly, like, we don't even want to give our precious energy and time to obnoxious drunk people, even when it's tempting. So excellent job, Joe. And then that's what Bob was saying, wise choice too. Nice. Can't trust people these days, Avian says. I just keep to myself as usual to avoid problems. I'm going to challenge you, and not that it's called trustworthy for a reason. People get to earn your trust. But when you, like, a lot of times when we have disorganized attachment, or what's called fearful-avoidant attachment. Hold on one sec. We don't trust other people, and we might not trust ourselves, and we don't trust other people. But the more you can love and trust yourself, you will notice that there are other people too that you can love and trust and that will actually support you and that are worthy of your trust, because literally the human nervous system is set up for connection, to be supported. And like you can see this with babies, like the first 6 months of a baby's life, they don't even know that they're separate from their mom, but then they start to separate, but they still need all of this connection. That's why, I mean, there's a whole like evolutionary biology thing about like why we think babies are so cute, but it's like for that support. But we need that throughout our life in different ways, but we have to trust the right people. So when we have trauma from many situations where where our trust was violated, we get to work on those things. And the more you heal and work on those things and release that old wounding, I promise you, people will come into your life that are fully trustworthy, that will love and support you, and that you can actually trust, Avian and everyone else, just so you know. And like you wouldn't, Avian, I feel like you wouldn't have found my channel if a part of you didn't know that was true, that you can trust people. Should you trust everyone? Fuck no. But there are people in the world that are trustworthy and that you can trust and that want to be supportive of you. James, I'm clean and sober on my way to church, been eating home cooked food, and I'm pure. I love that, James. Oh my gosh, congratulations. That must feel amazing. And we are so happy for you. Awesome. I freaking love that. Keep that momentum going. How inspiring. Joe Wolf, yes, it was not easy, but I'm not in jail. Yeah. And like that's what I mean about people that like would cause that kind of reaction at first, like the drunk, whatever. It's like, why would I do that for this guy? I mean, he's probably going to wake up and not even remember his behavior. And it's like that energy expenditure, and to end up in jail for what? For that trash? Nah, let's not. Bob, Avian, you just gotta, let me try reading it from here. Avian, you just gotta find the right people who deserve your trust. Exactly. Exactly, Bob. Avian, true. There you go. It's pretty, I promise you, Avian, it's not that rare. The more, and like, it's so important to know that the stories you tell yourself will be reflected into your reality. Like that is how energy works. It's very literal. So if you keep saying, no one's trustworthy, it'll be like, okay, the universe is like, sure, let me bring you more of that. But even if you could start by saying like, I'm working on trusting people, that's a huge upgrade. Now you're allowing some space for good people to come into your life. But if you keep repeating, no one's trustworthy, it's just that's the only thing that you're allowing into your reality. But if you can just go up a level and be like, I'm working on trusting people and I'm working on trusting myself. I think that both of those things are there. Typically for people that say they can't trust anyone, they also have conscious or subconscious things around trusting themselves. So you can say to yourself this week, just a little bump, a little slight reframe of, I am working on trusting myself and I'm working on trusting other people. I'm working on that. I'm moving towards that. Just start there. That's my invitation to you. I think it'd be really helpful. Let's see. Bob, I feel that, Avian, but they're out there. Exactly. Bob, congratulations on sobriety, James. One of the most rewarding things you can do in life, in my opinion. Word, for sure. Like true sobriety is one of the most spiritual things you can do. And what I mean by true sobriety is not even just from a substance or drugs, because a lot of people, what they do is then channel that addictive energy into a new addiction, right? Like this is why they say in Alcoholics Anonymous, no relationships for at least 12 months, because a lot of alcoholics, they channel that energy, they just go right into a very chaotic and dramatic relationship where they can get that high again. And they will always tell you, it's not the same high. The high you get from people isn't the same type of high, but at least it's something. So really unearthing and uninstalling that compulsive behavior, that compulsive energy, and that addiction energy, and really releasing it is so spiritual. Is so like it will lead to the best relationships, the best life. You get more money, your health gets better, everything gets so much better when you really release that addiction and compulsive energy. And don't channel it into anything else. Avian, I just don't like when people give me a hard time. Yeah, okay, again, but like, let's tell a new story, Avian. I don't like when people do that to me either, but like, I just don't allow people like that. I stop, like, you're very focused on the wrong type of people. You're focused on like, yeah, I mean, I don't like, I don't know when I step in dog poop, but I avoid that, right? Like I also don't think about it. Like, so I want you to start thinking about what it looks like to have a loving, trustworthy group of friends. Start there. So catch yourself every time the inner critic is trying to say, oh yeah, but I hate when people screw me over and I hate this or that, because you'll attract more of that. I had this same mentality a lot when I first started my private practice. I was like, oh, I don't want anyone to screw me over, or like, I want people to pay me for what I'm worth. And I just had all this, like, because um, I had some issues around like my worthiness and some unprocessed trauma about like being screwed over and not being appreciated in those things. So when I worked on that and I decided to create a new belief system, I have clients that just, oh, of course, yeah, like easily pay me. I trust all of my clients. Like it's just, and I have friends, and the ones that weren't trustworthy, they just dropped off. It was crazy. It was like a light switch. It was like bloop, like they just, or like when a fly comes towards like one of those fly zappers, it was like, bing, like I shifted my energy, and all of the negative bullshit people went away, and all of these amazing people came into my life, and everything got better. So again, shift your focus to what you want. Maybe after this live stream, create a list of what you would like friends to look like. Just give it a shot. Just do something different. If we want new results, we have to do something different. So try that. Let me know how it goes. Hi, Gary. Hello, wonderful lady. You are absolutely right. Oh, thanks. Joe, what way to go, James. Yeah, freaking love that, James. Like, we are all so happy for you. We are giving you so much positive energy. Harvey. Hi. You are very oh, thank you. Yes, Gary. We want to, your mind is so powerful. That is a big part of, what I feel passionate about. And I feel like my purpose in life is to help people understand how powerful their mind is. There are systems in place that do not want you to understand how powerful you are, and that you can literally create your reality with your mind. Well, they want to keep you in a fear state, like don't trust anyone, or, you only need to do this and trust this, or, and then eat these processed foods or whatever it is to keep you in a fear state. Because if you are in a fear state, your life is really small and you are easy to manipulate and control. You are, all someone has to say is like something scary or like that will put you in a fear state, and you're like, oh yeah, let me believe that. So if you understand, if you bring your power, if you call your power back to you and understand how powerful your mind is, and you can literally create anything you want. You can change your health, your wealth, your relationships, your career. It's all freaking energy, literally on the most subatomic level. This is science. Everything is energy. And, your heart, it's an electromagnetic field that can be measured way beyond like your arm's length. And the same with your mind. Your mind is always sending out electromagnetic impulses. They're real freaking things. This isn't some woo-woo shit, okay? Even though I think the woo-woo shit is like very valid and real too. But and it has also been scientifically proven, but they're the same thing. So you are like, do not be a sucker. Do not be like all sucked into the matrix and be one of these people that's just controlled. Okay, understand how powerful your mind is. If you want a new outcome, you can freaking create that. And I want that for you. I really want to see all of you guys win and to get everything that you want in your life and continue whatever it is. And then the next thing, and then the next thing. That's what you came here to do. You really are powerful creators, and don't ever forget it, and keep realizing that. Keep realizing, like, make it a game. Like, oh, okay, well, let me see if I could create this if I focus my mind on that. Let me see if I change my belief system about this. Maybe I don't need to worry about the how, because that will hold you back. Let God, the universe, take care of that. But I want to move here. I want to do this. Like, let's see how everything can fall into place. Okay? Just try it. You're so powerful, and I literally want the best for you. So just, even if you're like, this lady's crazy, just for fun, do it. Okay? Just do it. Let me know. Let me know what happens on Sunday. Let me know what happens next week when you shift your consciousness in that way. Bob, positivity and gratitude is really so powerful. Yes. Gratitude makes things grow. Appreciation appreciates things. So if you have $2 in your bank account, you are so appreciative of that, and you watch that multiply by however much you want to. Thank you, Harvey. Bob, and just like the dog poop, scrape those people off and find a better, yes, scrape it off, hose it down, and keep walking. Exactly, Bob. The midnight taco. We are all winners. Yes, we are. Avian. I wish I was born. You do not wish you were born as a perfectionist, Avian, because that is, I've worked with people, and I was given those, or brainwashed with those tendencies too. It's very limiting. So we don't want that either. You just want to be you. The highest state of consciousness, or the highest vibrations, are peace, joy, and love, and then authenticity. So you just got to be you. It's really one of the highest states of consciousness, is to just be you. That's all you got to be. You don't have to wish you were this or that. Just be you. Let's see. Hi, Bones. Bob, perfectionism has its negatives too, though. I've seen people really wear on people. Got to find the balance. Yeah, perfectionism is stale. It keeps you stale and stagnant, and it's like, it'll get like moldy, and people that are perfectionists come off very inauthentic. They're like, oh, hi, I mean, they're kind of like the politician type of energy. They don't come off, you don't really, it's like they're like kind of like corporate-y, that vibe of like, you exist, you're kind of like an NPC. It's like that type of vibe, because it's so inauthentic. So we don't really want that. Let's see if I missed any of your comments. So yeah, let me know if you have any questions about mental health, your healing journey, your evolution journey, and if you have any wins to celebrate, please celebrate them. It really does continue that, or it strengthens that neural pathway when we do that. What's up, brother? I like when you guys talk to each other. What are we talking about today? Well, we're always talking about, Bones. We're talking about mental health, becoming the best version of ourselves, psychology with the intersect of spirituality and quantum physics, creating the best life for ourselves, rewiring our brain, how to not let narcissist or any of these personality types fuck up our lives forever, and actually level up from it. Not even just that, but like healing. That's why I call it healing and thriving from toxic relationships and narcissistic abuse, because it really is. It's telling you guys, I know that they suck. I know that they're such energy vampires, but when you can really recover and thrive and heal from a toxic relationship, it can be the catalyst to the best thing, like best era of your life. It could really be the best thing that ever happened to you. I have had so many clients and all of my course students say that. They're like, you know what? I'm grateful. I'm grateful for that fucking narcissist. I'm grateful for that borderline. I'm so grateful, because you know what? I wouldn't have done this. I wouldn't have invested in therapy or this course in this way. And now I'm over here, and now I'm, creating that side hustle that I always wanted to do, or I made this move in my job, I would have never started my own business. I would have tolerated that abuse from this boss if I hadn't done this healing work. I'm telling you, it always leads to something amazing. Or you repeat the pattern until you decide to change it, until you decide whatever your rock bottom moment is. And it's like, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm leveling up my life. I'm getting rid of these type of relationships. I'm telling you guys. Sorry, I got on a tangent. I got all passionate. The weather's been kicking your ass, Bones. Where do you live? Paint Guy Paul. I recommend get up and out for a 5-mile walk about your life and interact. Yeah, that's always great. We were just talking about that on Sunday, Paul, actually, about how the importance of moving your physical body. And then we're also talking about meditation. And I was like, I really think walking meditations are so wonderful, such a wonderful way to calm and regulate the nervous system and clear your mind if you can. And just being outside, and the meditation part is that you're just completely present. You're breathing. You notice if when your mind is wandering, you come back to the present moment. You notice how the wind feels, how the trees sound, how every little nature sound or traffic sound, whatever it is, sounds. You're just so present. How the ground feels underneath your feet, all of the things, the temperature. You're just so in the present moment. That's all. Your mind is clear. You're just noticing your environment as you walk, how your body feels, all of it. I love walking meditations, and yeah, walking is great. Bob, busy can be good, bro. I feel that the heat needs to. It's almost September. I know. Yeah, I don't even want to. It's going to feel like a flex if I tell you guys the weather here, because I mean, we're just starting to have like, I don't know, it's been 80 the whole time. It's nice. Come visit California. I recommend fishing. A lot of people really like fishing and think it's very therapeutic. I'm down, whatever you like. Avian, I just wish I had the ability to do things perfectly of what I am capable of doing. I think it has to do with OCD. Okay, 2 things. Again, in terms of reframing, I would reframe that, because that's just your inner critic saying like, "Oh yeah, you can't do anything perfectly." It's just your inner critic finding another way to put you down and make you feel like shit. And by the way, and I've mentioned this before about OCD. OCD is a trauma response. OCD is it's on the anxiety spectrum. It can be cured. You can let it go. It doesn't have to be something that follows you around your whole life. You know, the more you, let me do this way, the more you focus on your healing and decide things are going to be different. I'm working on releasing all of my OCD defense mechanisms, or all my OCD stuff. I'm going to release it. I'm going to decide that I'm not listening to my inner critic. Like the exercise I just gave you, if you actually did that, you would weaken your inner critic, and you wouldn't be saying things like, I wish I did things perfectly. That would be like, you'd be like, what the fuck are you talking about, inner critic? You wish you did things, but that doesn't make sense, because it doesn't really. It's just your inner critic trying to put you down. So the more you can commit to your healing, and the more you decide that you want to be better instead of listening to your inner critic. And I really mean that, because it can be a real addiction, like an unconscious addiction, to constantly complain about yourself and constantly judge yourself. It's a real addiction, and it could form like a victimhood addiction, where you're just people that are addicted to victimhood, they just want to talk about the problem over and over again, and they just want to defend, they want to argue for their limitations, and that's all they want to talk about. And if you offer a solution, they'll tell you more about the problem. That is victimhood addiction. So we don't want to go there. So every time that happens, we want to shift back into a solution focused, and that's also a more like abundance mindset, right? So we want to keep shifting back into that. Bones, yeah, keep the mind busy is a good thing, Bob. Yeah. Avian, my family has OCD. It runs in the family. It's not genetic. it's not genetic. It's a trauma response. Now, you can have OCD, and babies, children are like sponges, so they'll act like their parents. So in that way, it can run in the family. But there's no OCD gene, I promise you. And I promise you, you can I've gotten rid of my OCD, and I had like religious OCD. I had all kinds of OCD. So I'm telling you, and I have none of it now. And sometimes it'll creep up. I'm like, no, we're not doing that. I'm not, and I did have to work on it, because you have to really be on top of like, I'm really committed to, I'm not letting this control my life anymore. But you can, but but that's what I mean. You can't just say like, oh, I'm this way because it runs in the family. But well, if you want to be that way, then be that way. But I'm saying like, you have to decide that you want a better life for yourself. We always do things in a certain way. Yeah. I mean, that's just how you were raised, but you could change that anytime, maybe. And I promise you, Bob, I'm definitely grateful for dating a borderline. Was so eye-opening. I needed that perspective to really reflect on myself. Yeah. I mean, all relationships are a mirror, but when you got that intense mirror, Bob, because you were ready for that. You were ready for that level of healing. And it could be a little gnarly, but you're ready for it. And it really did, you didn't go into victimhood. You didn't do any of the like deflecting. You're like, wow, I do this, and I don't want to be like this anymore. Okay. So like, bravo to you. Bob, I get you, Bones. Sorry, I missed that comment. Hi, Donald. Paint Guy Paul. Also cooking, plan your meals, new recipes. Yeah, we love that. Yeah. James was just saying that, like, being sober, cooking your own meal, like all the things. So we love that. Dougie Fresh. I dated a borderline for a little over a year, and she stabbed me 4 times by the end of it. Yeah, they get violent. They're so dysregulated and emotional that I've heard that are just like hitting. They get physically violent. I'm really sorry you went through that, Dougie Fresh. And please never talk to that woman again, first of all. And but I also hope that you did the healing after you get out of a relationship like that, I never want you to attract it again, right? So we don't want to have a pattern of attracting the toxic relationship in ourselves, because then we have something unconscious we need to look at. So hopefully that's a pattern that is in the past and we are letting it go. Yeah, that's really messed up. Fishing starts here. Those eyelashes, I know. I just got them done. When I just get them done, they're like really extra. Yeah, we're about being physically safe in here. I'm glad everyone's safe. Avian, what did I tell you? Yes, of course you're not going to be with those type of people. But how about that's why I only attract safe people? That's how I would reframe that in my mind. So instead of that's why I can't be with those, say like that's why I only have safe relationships in my life. That's why I only attract people that make me feel safe and loved and supported. How about that? Just a little upgrade. Bones, one chick burned me with a damn curling iron. Oh my gosh. Jesus. It's not a crazy world we live in. Your world is whatever you believe it is. I believe I live in a safe, prosperous, loving, supportive world. And that's reflected back to me all the time. Abundant, luxurious, loving world. And that's reflected back to me. Dougie Fresh. Yes, hindsight is 2020, as they say. And I look for all those red flags that I overlooked. Exactly. Or I just let it slide because they were there. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's just about learning, right? That's why I always say, after a relationship, and even if it's like a work relationship, whatever, it's like, what did you learn about yourself? And what red flags did you ignore? Just if you were super duper honest with yourself, if you were your friend and you're like, hey, I just want to be real with you. This is, like, what would you just, and we only do that. Hey, Brianna. And we only do that because we care. And it's not to make you feel bad or defensive or anything. It's like, what did you ignore? So, because I love you and I don't want you to do that again. I don't want you to go through that again. And so, if you're really real and honest with yourself, maybe journal about it, you can heal that and it won't happen again. um, where was I? Bob, I've never personally gotten physically violent, but I definitely have said and done some awful thing. My splits tended to be more internal. Yeah, that happens. And what Bob's talking about is like when borderline people split. So they like everything's black and white. So they have it's if the other person experiences as like two different people, right? So the real, very nice, loving Bob. And then when you feel emotionally dysregulated, it goes into this defensive, overly emotional, like where you can just be so mean. And yeah, like you can be violent, but you would just say the meanest and nastiest things to really trigger the shit out of someone because that's how hurt you feel. That's the borderline defense mechanism. One of them. Oh, I hate to say it, but I've relapsed. Well, you know what, Brianna? It's progress, not perfection. That's what it is. Progress, not perfection. And thank you for your vulnerability. And I think you're telling us that because you want to get back on track. So we're here to support you with our energy and everything. And let me know if you want to talk more about it. But there's so much power in just being honest, like, hey, I relapsed, and you're ready to get back on track. Bob, Brianna, relapse happens. Don't beat yourself up. Exactly. What matters is how you move forward and get back on the horse. Are you safe? Brianna, yes, I am. My wrist just hurts. Brianna, I'm glad you're safe. We are glad you're safe. Brianna, thank you for coming on and telling us that you're safe. And I know that you're saying this because you are ready to get back on the horse. And it's really important to not let your inner critic take over in moments like this, because the inner critic loves when you relapse. It's like, see, I told you, you can't be or whatever, you can't be whatever you want to be, or you're just going to always, no, that's not true. It's bringing you closer to your goal and where you want to be. And we love you, Brianna. We're all sending you a ton of love and virtual hugs. So we're glad you're here. Paint Guy Paul, and when you talked about OCD, I saw it coming on big time late teens. I decided this needs to be gone. And at 75 today, still small bits of it appear, and I immediately get rid of them. Yeah, exactly, Paint Guy Paul. Like OCD is just an anxiety disorder, basically, and it's your brain trying to protect itself. It's really trying to keep you safe, but in a very arduous and draining way. So yeah, we can decide that we don't need to behave that way anymore. Joe, thank you for your service, Bones. I served as anti-terror task force um, from 06 to 09. Well, thank you, Joe and Bones, for your service. For some reason, I need to stop watching the news, and that is why. Yeah, stop watching the news. Again, the news is for suckers. The news is to brainwash you and to keep you small and fear-based so they can control you. Avian, don't watch the news. Yeah. Stop watching the news. Roger, hello, Roger. Sahir, this channel is similar to Healthy Gamer, who Oh, cool. I don't know Healthy Gamer. Bob, I love Healthy Gamer. His BPD video was one of the first things I watched in my research on it. Nice. Bones. But all right, I'll catch y'all later. Nice talking to you, Bones. Love you. Joe, thank you, Bones. Have a good night. Bob. I almost joined the Marines out of high school, but the recruiter wouldn't stop calling me at work, so I blocked him. Oh my god, I love it. That's so funny. You're like, "Nope." That's very funny. Well, let me know if you have any other questions. I'm gonna wrap up soon because it's late where Bob is, and he's moving soon to Texas. Woo! We're excited for him. But great questions and comments. And most of all, thank you guys for your vulnerability. Thank you for talking about what's been really going on for you, what you're struggling with, because that helps other people. And also but most importantly, talking about it and being real, it helps you, especially in front of other people, to be really vulnerable. That's again like one of the beautiful things about being in a 12-step program, is like, you're just like in this huge community of people that all they want to do is support you in your recovery. So yeah, Brianna, I just want to go now, but thank you so much for letting me vent anytime, Brianna. That's what we're here for. You have a great night too. Love you, Brianna. I love you guys all. Thank you again, Bob, so much for being here and moderating, keeping the streets clean, and also like all of your very helpful and insightful comments. Very much appreciate it. I'm actually gonna screenshot that so I remember. Yes, thank you for sharing your vulnerability, Bob says tonight. And we are all very happy that you're safe. Yes, you can overcome it and you will. And yeah, continue to stay safe. So yes, again, thank you, Bob. Thank you to all of you guys. And I'm sending you guys all a ton of love and positive moving energy for you, Bob, whenever that happens. And I will see you guys Sunday, okay? I love you so much. Have a wonderful night and rest of the week, and I'll see you on Sunday.